Welcome back to the deep dive. We are here to take your sources, peel back the layers, and really extract the knowledge you need to be quickly and thoroughly informed.
Hmm.
And today, we're diving into a story that, it's arguably one of the most famous pieces of ancient wisdom ever told.
It really is.
But we're going to treat it like a blueprint, almost, for understanding human psychology and, spiritual growth.
Yeah.
We're talking about the parable of the four soils.
And I think the setup is just fascinating.
Right. When Jesus first told this story, he wasn't doing some huge miracle or making a big announcement.
No thunder, no angels.
None of that. He just says, a sower went out to sow. It's so simple. A farmer, some seed, a field.
Just agriculture.
Yeah.
But that simple analogy has been quietly and just expertly exposing the condition of the human heart for thousands of years.
And that contrast, that's what we're here for. The simple idea that leads to this really complex insight.
Exactly. Our mission today is to move past, the Sunday school version and really figure out why this ancient metaphor is a direct mirror of our lives today. What does it actually reveal about our own receptivity?
The great thing about this teaching is it defines all the variables right up front. There's no guesswork.
Right. The seed, it tells us, is the word of God sow. Truth, wisdom, guidance.
Okay.
The sower is basically anyone who shares that truth. A teacher, a friend, someone who just lives it out.
And then the big one, the soil. The entire focus is on the soil.
Which is us. It's the condition of our hearts when we receive the message.
And that's the thing. The sower is constant. The seed is constant.
That's the uncomfortable truth at the core of this whole thing. Same message, same person sharing it, and yet you get 4 wildly different outcomes.
So the result has nothing to do with the message itself.
Nothing. It depends entirely on the state of the recipient's heart.
Okay, let's unpack this. The 4 types of soil and what they really show us, starting with the least fertile one, the one where truth never even gets a chance.
The path.
The path. So the first seed falls on this path, and this isn't just dirt, right? This is soil that has been beaten down, compacted.
Trampled, yeah.
Yeah.
By people, by animals, just by life.
It's impenetrable. Nothing sinks in. The seed just sits right on the surface, totally exposed.
And the outcome here is critical. The seed doesn't die slowly.
Right.
It's lost immediately.
Right. Before it can do anything, birds, which the text says are, forces hostile to growth, they just swoop in.
And snatch it away. Gone.
And what's alarming about that is how easy it is. The enemy doesn't even have to fight for it.
Not at all. It was just sitting there for the taking. The teaching explains this is the heart that hears the word but doesn't grasp it. And it's not because the message is confusing.
It's because the heart is closed.
Completely closed. It's resistant. And that resistance isn't intellectual. It's an emotional or spiritual hardening.
So what causes that hardening? What turns a field into a footpath?
Well, the source material suggests it's the constant traffic of life. It's being walked on again and again by disappointment, by pain, by cynicism.
Or even seeing people who talk about truth but never live it.
Exactly. That can harden you.
Yeah.
So by the time the real truth shows up, the heart has built this thick, defensive shell. The seed just bounces right off.
What really stands out to me about this soil is its defining feature is just indifference. It's not a loud rebellion, it's a shrug. We think of spiritual danger as, active opposition, but this suggests indifference is one of the most dangerous conditions. Why is that?
Because it's defenseless. Even active rebellion requires you to engage with the idea, even negatively.
Sure, you're still thinking about it.
Exactly. Indifference is non-engagement. It's apathy. It's saying, I don't care enough to fight this, and I definitely don't care enough to try and understand it. And when you don't engage, you become an easy target.
Nothing is retained.
Nothing. That's the path.
Okay, so if the path is total indifference, the next soil, the rocky soil, feels like the complete opposite. It's all energy, all emotion.
Right, a total 180.
So the seed falls here, and at first it looks amazing. It springs up really fast. There's all this excitement and enthusiasm.
This is the person who receives the word with joy. They love the feeling, they love the moment.
They feel instantly changed. But there's a huge problem.
A fundamental problem, and it's the speed. Why did it grow so fast? Because there was no depth of soil. Right under that thin layer of dirt, it's all rock. There's literally no space for roots to go deep and anchor the plant. The joy is real, but it's superficial.
That feels very modern, that rush for a visible, immediate result without doing the hard, invisible work underneath.
Absolutely. The teaching shows the soil is driven by instant gratification. It receives the word when it feels good, when it's exciting, but the test always comes.
And in the parable, the test is the sun.
Yeah. The sun.
which feels weird, right? Plants need the sun to live.
Yeah.
Why does the sun representing trouble, pressure, difficulty, why does it kill this specific plant?
Because the sun doesn't just give energy, it creates intensity.
Yeah.
For a plant with deep roots, the sun is a source of strength. It draws moisture up.
Oh.
But for a plant with shallow roots, the sun is just a heat lamp. It dries out what little moisture it has and exposes how weak it really is.
So the source material reveals this really challenging truth here.
It does. Trouble doesn't kill faith. Shallow roots do.
Wow.
Yeah. This heart is all in when life is easy, when blessings are obvious. But the second faith costs something. The moment obedience is hard or inconvenient.
It withers.
It withers. Because there are no inner resources, no reserves to draw from.
So the lesson is that enthusiasm without establishment is actually a liability.
It's emotion without formation, excitement without endurance. It's a spiritual life built on a high, not on deep trust.
That distinction is so powerful, emotion versus formation. And that brings us to the third soil, the thorny soil. This one, to me, is the sneakiest.
I agree, it's the most insidious because the failure here isn't obvious at first. The plant actually looks alive.
Right. The seed grows, the roots form, the plant establishes itself. This is often described as a genuine believer.
A sincere person.
Yeah.
Someone who loves God and wants to follow the truth.
But there's competition that's already in the soil. And the competition is described as thorns.
Right. The worries of life, the deceitfulness of wealth, and the desire for other things.
And this is where it gets tricky, because the source points out that none of these things are evil on their own.
Not at all. Work isn't evil. Ambition isn't evil. Money, responsibility, these are just parts of life.
And that's the trap.
That's the trap. Because they're so essential to modern life, we don't even see them as competitors for our heart space.
I have to push on that a bit. For you, the listener, trying to build a career, manage a family, how can your necessary responsibilities be seen as choking weeds? Isn't that just being an adult?
And that is the exact question the parable forces us to confront. The problem isn't the existence of these things. It's the priority and the space they take up.
The heart is overcrowded.
Totally overcrowded. The person is sincere, but God's voice becomes just one voice in this deafening chorus of other demands. The thorns, the worries, they just outgrow the word.
Let's make that practical. What are the worries of life today?
I mean, think about it. The culture of anxiety, being constantly connected, feeling like you're always behind. The comparison we get from social media. These aren't dramatic sins.
No.
They're emotional parasites. They steal your focus, your energy. The deceitfulness of wealth isn't just about being rich. It's the lie that more status or more stuff will fix your deeper problems.
So the truth is literally fighting for space against deadlines, anxiety, phone notifications, the pressure to keep up.
Precisely. And the result is really subtle. The word doesn't die right away. The person doesn't usually walk away from their faith.
They just get choked.
They get choked, they stay busy, often successful by the world's standards, but they become spiritually unproductive. The teaching shows that distraction, even by good things, will slowly strangle devotion. It's the slow fade.
Okay, so that finally brings us to the fourth soil, the good soil.
The successful outcome.
This is the one that produces fruit 30, 60, 100 times what was sown. This is the goal.
And we need to be clear about what good soil actually is. The teaching is careful to say this heart is not perfect. It's not a soil that's magically free of weeds or rocks.
It still requires care.
Constant care. Weeding, removing rocks. It's an ongoing process.
So the key quality isn't perfection, it's receptivity.
Receptivity and endurance. This heart holds on to the word. It doesn't quit under pressure, which is the opposite of the rocky soil.
And it prioritizes God's voice so that life's worries don't choke it out.
The opposite of the thorny soil. The good soil hears, understands, receives, retains, and endures. They stay and they grow. And that leads to multiplication.
Which is why the harvest is so massive. 30, 60, 100-fold.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. If you, the listener, are nodding along. Maybe you recognize that hardened indifference of the path or the shallow excitement of the rocks, or just the constant crowding of the thorns in your own life. What now?
Well, this is the crux of the whole teaching. Good soil is not something you are. It's something you become.
That is a huge relief.
It is. If the soil types were fixed, this would just be a story about judgment. But it's not. It's an invitation to be transformed.
So we're not stuck in a category forever. How does that change happen? You don't just drift into good soil.
Absolutely not. You cultivate it. It takes intentional work. Hard soil can be softened. You have to break it up.
Yeah.
Rocks, which often represent old hurts or deep-seated cynicism, can be removed
And thorns can be pulled.
diligently, one by one.
So what are the practical actions of cultivation? What can you, our learner, actually do this week?
They're not mystical things. They're very practical. First, slowing down, just listening, actively trying to understand. That's what softens the path.
Okay.
Second, choosing depth over hype, making time to actually apply the word and obey it, even when it's uncomfortable. That's what pushes roots past the rock layer.
And third,
Choosing faithfulness over feelings, choosing growth over just the appearance of growth. That's the relentless work of weeding out those thorny distractions. It means letting the digging happen in the parts of your life you'd rather protect.
so in the end, the parable isn't really about the seed or the sower. It's about the sustained, intentional work of cultivation.
And how deep you're willing to let the word grow.
The story ends with a challenge. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. It's a direct call to respond and not just to listen.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the central question isn't whether truth is being sown. It is. It's everywhere, in teachings, scripture, the nudge of your own conscience.
Right.
Your question is always, what kind of soil are you offering to that truth?
And here's the beautiful promise in the source material that I think makes the story so powerful. If you feel hardened by life, God can soften you. If you feel shallow, like you're always wilting under pressure, God can deepen you. If you feel crowded and choked by the busyness of life, God can clear that space.
That's the promise.
When you commit to letting the word take deep root, your life becomes the tangible proof that the seed works. And you get that abundant multiplication, 30, 60, even 100-fold. That is the transformative power of a cultivated heart.